Just check the settings. The sensitivity of the microphone. I'm just playing around with the focus, just checking, doing sanity check of some of the tools on BioniChaos.com. Just need to activate the heart rate monitoring on my Garmin watch as well, so we can compare side by side. Yeah, if anyone wants to send me another heart monitor device, I can test the performance of this tool. That would be great. All day pulse oximetry. This will drain the battery, wouldn't it? Battery life. Yeah, pulse ox can significantly impact battery life and will not turn on if the device battery is low. Wait, and that should be... Now when they say pulse SpO2, yeah, it's monitoring your SpO2 level. I don't think it actually does it, but well, currently it's not even turned on. Only during sleep. When if you turn it, the convoluted. Some convoluted settings there, and still didn't turn on. And let's turn it off for a sec. Activity tracking. Activity tracking like steps and sleep. It's just odd to call sleep an activity. Is it an activity? Move alert. When you've been still for too long, your device can prompt you to get moving. It's actually a bit annoying. Move IQ. When your movements match familiar patterns such as biking, riding, or using elliptical machine, Move IQ will automatically identify the event and display it in your timeline. Okay, I can think of another event that we probably do not want to be able to detect. Interestingly, it's changing the goals. So the daily steps, if you are doing more steps, it's actually increasing the threshold. So it's, I don't know if it's gaslighting you a bit. Well, by reducing it, suggesting that you can't do it, whatever, and then it's telling you, oh. So now it's increased for me to like 12,000, whereas it's some time, a couple months before ago, it was down to 8,000. Daily floors climbed, 10 floors daily. Where would I climb the 10 floors? And weekly intensity minutes. Automatic heart rate zones, moderate intensity zone 3, vigorous intensity zone 4. How about if you're just being stressed and stuff? Would that count as a intensity training? This is a interesting custom stride length. Get the most accurate distance on your activity tracker with the custom stride length. Count the number of steps it takes to cover a known distance and will calculate the stride length. Walking, get the most accurate distance. Custom. I think it's measuring pretty accurately as it is. I mean, you don't want to change it as well because it's because one of those, this is type of measurements that doesn't have to be absolute, I think. Well, because it doesn't have to be super accurate. It has to be, because we want to track it over time. Do you know what I mean? Shall we get a bot to explain it? Let's get a bot. Should we get a bot? Should we vote on it? On getting a bot or not? Any humans in the chat? No. So no humans wants to interact, so we'll have to use a bot. Otherwise, it's okay to say hello. Forget to do an intro. Yeah, everything doing live on this YouTube channel. So we're live streaming the whole development process of BioniChaos.com, and you get tools like this, the robotic arm simulators, and this one that tracks your heart rate using camera. It actually works. I've been testing it for a while. Let me know if you tested it on your own head. So yeah, go check out BioniChaos.com. Everything we do appears there eventually. Check some simulation tools. This robotic arm simulator and this real-time face color amplification. Yeah, we did explain several times how it works, but let me know if we need another explanation. And we were actually thinking firing a bot. Which one should we use? What do we have? Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Grok. Grok is not a bad one. A notebook LM is essentially a version of Gemini. Oh, we had that Sesame. It's called Sesame AI. Got how to. There you go. It's still in preview, some sort of non-commercial thing, research preview. You can select Maya or Miles. Yeah, again, we haven't tried it in a while. I don't know if I don't think they updating it or anything. Wait, I was actually trying to find. I turned on off continuous heart rate monitoring on my smartwatch to preserve battery. Now I'm trying to turn it back on. It's setting the. Yes, it kind of matters what wrist you're wearing it on. Yeah, one monitor there. Is it on? don't know, do you need to like restart the smartwatch or something? I don't know. I had a question there for the viewers. Did you know all the tools we develop live on this channel are available on BioniChaos.com? So trying to gauge, started as a poll. And obviously, yeah, the answer is like yes and no. We'll leave it at yes, no. But essentially, if it's a yes, if you visited the site, we're more than happy to receive your feedback. If you haven't checked the site, go check it out. And then you should be able to provide your feedback. Should we write one of those like if-else diagrams or not? Probably not. My heart rate at the moment is on the lowish side. Saying, oh, now I moved, so the measurement is off. Okay, saved successfully, and it's still, the light should come on, should come up, and it's not coming up. Do I need to sync with the device or something? I don't know. I thought when you sync, it's data from the device coming to the phone. Oh, now it's on. Okay, now should get some measurement. Well, the problem with a smartwatch
I'm Maya. What do you go by?
Can we talk about biometrics measurements from wearable devices? Are you happy to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious about that too. Biometrics from wearables is a huge topic right now. What specifically about it is on your mind?
Okay, so we're doing like heart rate monitoring. But first, can we touch on, say, if I have a smartwatch and I'm calibrating my stride length, is it really, how important it is to get a correct measurement versus keeping the settings consistent so I get a better picture over time? So in other words, what I'm talking about is relative measurements versus accurate measurements.
That's a really interesting question, relative versus accurate measurements. For stride length, I think relative accuracy actually matters way more than getting it perfect from the start. If you nail the same calibration consistently, even if it's slightly off, you'll catch trends way better than if you're all over the place. The key is consistency over time, not chasing some true perfect measurement.
Okay, can you link
Are
it
you working on
to
setting up a new
can
device?
can you link it to heart monitoring? And can you not ask me questions? Just respond and keep your responses very short.
Consistent heart rate calibration matters less than consistent use. Consistent placement, tightness, those matter more than perfect readings. Long-term trends over accuracy.
Wait, so would you say having a higher accuracy device, like a clinical grade device, is more or less important than longer term monitoring?
Longer term, consistent monitoring wins. even with a less accurate device. Trends are key.
So he's saying we don't need medical grade devices.
Consumer wearables work fine for tracking changes within yourself.
For diagnosis as well?
No, you absolutely need medical grade for diagnosis.
By saying longer term monitoring with lower quality is better.
For trends? Yes. Not for medical purposes.
Can trends be used for medical purposes?
Only when interpreted by a doctor.
Okay, now I'm doing my heart rate monitoring and I'm getting different metrics. I'm getting about 70 to 75 on my heart rate wearable wrist worn device. However, on another device that's using RPPG, remote PPG through a web camera, I'm getting a much lower reading. Can you explain why that might be the case in one sentence?
Hey, just letting you know we've got about a minute left on this call. You can always jump back in anytime. Web camera readings are usually lower because of motion artifacts and less consistent contact than wrist-worn devices.
Sorry, why would it will be consistently lower, you think?
Webcams have inconsistent contact and more movement noise.
Well, I'm trying not to move and I'm getting 63 on the webcam monitoring. I'm getting 57, 58 on my wrist one. Okay, we lost the bot. You can log in now. I don't think the login option was there before, so obviously someone is working on Sesame AI. Sesame.com. Yeah, now it's actually closer to what the Garmin is measuring. Okay, it's showing me steady 63 and 50. The arm position, so we had this other tool that was actually showing PPG, that the arm position matters. This is based on a paper. So before, yes, when you're sitting down, you get a better signal to noise ratio. So you're getting 8.4 decibel for standing up, 10.5 for sitting, 18 for lying down. So if I lie down, supposedly, But isn't it the arm position? Yeah, it's based on this paper. So it is at the wrist. But the wrist will matter, well, if you're lying down or not. But yes, for example, if you sit, you can have your arm on the lap and get 13.6, or arm at heart, you get higher, more signal. So currently my arm is roughly at the heart level. It's jumping around quite a bit, so I can't get the 58, 59, 59. And what do I get? So do I have to stay? I don't know, there will be some sort of optimal position for measurement. You're getting a strong 63 and a 60 on the Garmin device. I was kind of expecting one BPM difference. So I don't know if it's we need some sort of calibration procedure, or what metrics actually affect. Oh, we're doing a low. There's a lowish FPS, but I'm more worried about the variability of the frames per second, not the low value, because I mean the heart rate is only within around 3 hertz. So you can do, so even 10 frames per second should be fine. What do you think? Can enable sonification. Interesting. This is just so whatever is so say if you're in front of a screen, kind of makes a difference what's on the screen in front of you. So if it's a dark screen or light screen, because that color will be reflecting off your face. So now I'm getting a stable 63. I can listen to it as well, so we can try and lower it. We're trying to turn it into a tool for meditation. Yeah, it's fine, because you had this like discrete, the number of lines on the frequency domain. I don't know if we need more of them or something. Yeah, the noise there is probably coming through the window. The blinds are moving with the wind and it's changing the light conditions. But yeah, anyhow, if you tried it on yourself, let me know how you went. Okay, we'll turn it off for a sec because I'll be moving. Yeah, pop your comments in the chat. We can take any questions, comments, complaints. More than happy to address anything you like. Those live streams meant to be interactive. Anyhow, if you visited BioniChaos.com, do let me know. Do let me know. So it's a bit more interactive. I don't know if Sesame AI can browse the web. I'm not sure. Grok is pretty good at it. See if we can connect to the voice model. Can share links
Checking
with
that
it as
weird
well.
link real quick.
Checking that weird link. Weird link. Why is it weird? Why is it so weird?
That link's a neat little web app. Lets your webcam spot tiny color shifts in your face from blood pulsing underneath. It's called Face Blood
That's
Webcam,
right.
but really it's Eulerian video magnification plus remote photoplethysmography. Fancy way to say non-contact heart rate tracking. Sit still, good light, no makeup. It'll overlay a green throb on your skin and guess your BPM. Super cool demo. Here's what it looks like in action. And a classic example from the original technique, pulse popping out on someone's face. Not medical grade, just educational fun. Try it if you're bored. Your heart's basically waving hello through your cheeks.
Yeah, there's an example where they show exactly the same BPM as on the smartwatch. Yes, someone answered the question, did you know that all the tools we develop live are freely available on BioniChaos.com? Someone said yes, but then the next question is, are you ready to provide any feedback, or how did you use the website? Or what specific tool did you look at, and did it work for you? Many questions. More questions than answers. More questions than answers. Human. No, let's get back to Grok. Okay, and how would you test the accuracy of a tool like that? Just keep it quick and fun.
Quick accuracy test? Easy. Let's do it.
Can you do
Grab
it?
a cheap finger pulse oximeter, like those little red ones that clip on your fingertip. Sit in decent light, no wiggling. Run the webcam thing for 30 seconds, then check your real BPM on the oximeter at the same time. If they're within 5 beats, it's solid for fun. If it's way off,
5
like 20,
beats.
blame shaky hands or bad lighting. Here, folks do it all the time. Super quick party trick. Your cheeks versus your finger. Who's winning?
Did you say 5 beats? That sounds like much.
Yeah, 5 beats off is actually pretty tight for a webcam trick. Most folks see 10 to 15 wiggle room. 5's like, hey, this thing's not half bad territory. Anything under that, you're basically a human lie detector for your own pulse. But hey, if it's jumping 20, just laugh it off. Lighting, movement, even your skin tone can throw it. Still fun though.
Oh, we are like getting a few. Okay, what's on the screen makes a huge difference. So I don't know, how do I monitor it? I can do the audio and just put like a wide screen because it gives more light, shines more light on my face. So turn notification, put the wide screen up. I don't know what. And I can't open my eyes to actually see it. Wait, I need to do it again. But essentially, wait, I need to be able to see it somewhere on the screen. Okay, stable 56. We're getting 55, 57 on the smartwatch, on the Garmin device. So that's within 1 beat per minute. How good is that? And that's really cool. Can we use an Apple Watch for calibration? You can use any watch. I'm using a Garmin, you can use Apple, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm not it's not an actual calibration, it's just like a side-by-side comparison. So I'm not feeding so I'm not assuming the watch is better. So I'm assuming the watch also has a 1 plus minus 1, 2 BPM error. Well, plus minus 1, which will make it 2, you know what I mean? So it could be plus 1 or minus 1, meaning 2 beats per minute error margin. And based on testing of these two, it's roughly the same. So I'm getting 1 plus minus 1 BPM, and it's different. So a true calibration will mean where I have a better device, like a clinical grade something, which I don't have. If you want to send me one, we can arrange that. But essentially, if you have a better quality device that can give you better metric. So there's like advantages and disadvantages to each. Like the smartwatch, you can wear it for longer term. But if you're shaking your hand, and we had this other thing, a simulation that is based on results from a paper showing how your position of your body will change the signal to noise ratio. So essentially will change the quality of the reading, of the recording. So if you're lying down, you get a higher, more signal in your recording. If you're standing up, it's a bit lower. If you're sitting and your arm is on the lap, or arm is down, which is what's happening most of the time, this paper, Determinants of PPG Signal Quality at the Wrist by Charlton et al., is showing that the recording is actually a significantly lower quality. I mean, this signal to noise ratio is still pretty good, it's pretty decent, but it is lower. And that's a simulation of the results from the paper. But yeah, if you have a Apple Watch, you want to compare. So it's not a calibration, it's more of a side-by-side comparison. Yeah, go for it. Like do it with, go to this link. all the source code, your face, by the way, it doesn't matter how many times you say it, people don't believe it. Well, I mean, first of all, people don't even believe it's working at all. Once they realize it's actually working, yes, you need to stay still. So the advantage of the camera is that you don't need anything touching the body. It's remote, right? The disadvantage is that you need to control your light in the room and you have to stay still as much as possible. Well, the longer you don't move for, the better the recording is. So now that I'm moving, it's actually not able to, it's showing you the quality of the signal there, and it's actually shouldn't have been indicating good because it's fluctuating, so you don't get a good signal. You can also spoof the recording just by shaking your head. You can actually make it, but then you can make it give you a value, a BPM value. So this will be 70 something beats per minute. That is obviously not coming from the color of your head. This is just an artifact or motion artifact. And that's giving you a signal, and that, so that's future direction. Should be on the page there. Future direction, multi-person tracking, motion compensation using optical flow to track skin pixels even when the user moves their head. Well, I mean, first stage you should be able to detect if they're moving their head and then discard the reading, discard the recording. So this will be another something we have to add to it later on. Maybe if someone actually asks for it, we will be more motivated to actually do it. But yeah, let me know if you tried it yourself, if you did compare it to an Apple Watch or not. Let me know. How did that go? If you're getting, it should be, so I'm getting like within one plus minus 1 bits per minute compared to a mid-range cost Garmin device. By the way, if Garmin is watching this video and you want to send me a better smartwatch and stuff, especially ones that can do ECG as well, so we can compare those. This one is claiming to do PPG, but I don't actually think it does. But it's hard to test because it doesn't actually give you the waveform, it just gives you a reading, and I don't think the quality of the reading is great. So we're happy to review any of the tools on BioniChaos.com. If you checked it out, do let me know. And also tell me if it worked for you or not. We can actually improve it, change it. So all the tools we develop are available freely on BioniChaos.com. Let me know if you checked it out. Okay, so ours is actually plus minus 1 beat per minute error compared to a Garmin watch.
Checking real-world accuracy now. Hang tight.
Where is it checking it?
Honestly, webcam RPPG like that, face blood thing, usually lands around plus minus 2 to 5 beats per minute off a solid Garmin. When you're chill, good light, no fidgeting. From tests I've seen, it beats some wrist sensors on average. One study had it at just 2.38 BPM error versus wearables at 3.63. But Garmin's newer Elevate stuff, it's tighter, often 1 to 3 BPM steady state, though it wobbles more during runs or if the band's loose. Webcam wins for fun demos, Garmin for real tracking. Your face doesn't sweat or move like your wrist. Here's a quick side-by-side setup folks do. And a typical error graph from RPPG papers. See how it hugs the line? If you're testing, sync 'em live. Your cheeks might surprise the watch.
Yeah, getting 63. We're getting yeah, we're actually testing it at the moment, the one I sent you earlier. And last time we checked, we got the same reading on the smartwatch and the remote PPG and the web camera.
That's awesome. Perfect match. Whoa, same reading? That's gold. Means your setup's dialed in. Most RPPG webcams hover around 2 to 6 beats off of Garmin in calm tests, but zero error? Rare win. Recent stuff shows wearables like Garmin hit 1 to 4 BPM drift on average. Your face cam basically tied it. Probably perfect light, no shake, steady breathing. Try it again, moving a bit. See if it holds. Here's a typical bland Altman from RPPG versus wearable studies. Dots hugging zero means spot on agreement, and another one showing tight scatter. Yours would look even cleaner. Keep going. Next level. Sync it live with the watch and record the match.
Yeah, it's showing some metrics of similar studies, but yeah, there's some interesting studies out there. I'm not sure if I probably shouldn't be showing them for like copyright reasons, whatever. Yeah, the diagrams are either too simplistic or too complicated, where they actually comparing results and things. Yeah, so let me know if you check the website and had any questions. Yeah, open for feedback, review. Also very sensitive to what is on the screen if something is flashing in front of you. So kind of working better if you just have like a document, like a white screen in front of you, because it's actually adding more light onto your face. Yeah, if you visited the website BioniChaos.com and have any questions, comments, complaints, do let me know. Yeah, if you visited the website, BioniChaos.com, where we deploy everything we do live on this channel, then you can provide your feedback. We can address it live, in real time, or even get one of the language models to fix something on the site if you found an error or whatever. So essentially you're acting like a co-founder, co-developer for the tools we are making. How good is that? Okay, hi, how you going? So I'm essentially a YouTuber, but I do run it as a startup, and I'm a technical person. So I'm a PhD in biomedical engineering, and I'm looking for a CEO, so someone who can actually take whatever I did in the last 3 years and turn it into a product. One of the examples of things that I'm doing is what's shown currently on the screen is recording heart rate just using your camera alone. So I stream and deploy regularly, so all the products are already, out there. So whichever way. So yes, we're like running. Someone was before talking about like running as a charity, whatever. So yeah, we run essentially I run as a charity at the moment. So but yes, looking for a CEO, someone to turn those into products. So it's all around biomedical data. your wearables, whatever. So essentially trying to get people to take charge, take ownership of the medical data. So if you did an EEG, MRI scan, or whatever, so you could essentially go and ask for the raw data from the clinic where you recorded it, and using AI and my videos, whatever, over the last 3 years, I can show you how you could process that data yourself, make your own dashboard or whatever it is you want to do with the data, but just own it and use it. Yeah, because at the moment, normally when you ask for data, you just get some images, rendered images. Then the device, whatever the Siemens MRI scanner, can export a report for a clinician. So you might, if you ask nicely, you might get access to that. But essentially what I'm trying to get people to do is ask for the raw data. So an MRI scan would be terabyte worth of data. EEG scan would be like in the, a gigabyte. So go ask for it. And now with AI, you can actually look at the data yourself or get second opinion from another clinician, or just, get whatever a Grok doc model to review the data for you. So that's the general idea. A CEO, someone to essentially take what open source project tools that we made and turn them into a product. If you check the BioniChaos, the website, they do let me know. Well, you essentially will have to tell me which tool you tried and how did it work for you. Because essentially you are a co-founder, co-developer of this tool. So we need some testers. So let me know. So we're essentially gamifying biomedical data, doing it open source. All the code, if you are interested where the code is on the page. So any of the tools, you go F12, sources, and the code is just there. Let me know if you have any questions. It's meant to be interactive thingy. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I can hear you. How are you going? How are you? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was muted. Hey, how are you? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because now, so this tool was based on like 15-year old TED talk where, yeah, it's meant to magnify, using webcam magnify, measuring heart rate and respiration and things like that. So it meant to revolutionize telehealth and stuff. Well, that didn't happen, but yeah, interestingly now there's a new use case for it, is detecting deep fakes and things, but I mean, because it's easy for me to measure heart rate from a video, it will also be easy to add, heart rate, just tone, as the blood is pulsing through your head, the color of your skin changes. So you could add it to a deep fake as well. So it's a never ending. That's why things like that never become a product. Really good things really interesting things never become products, because really good ideas, they just, they're like viruses. They just spread. You cannot patent or copyright or restrict them to make money out of it, whatever. But yeah, I mean, in the same way, like yeah, I imagine, because I'm thinking like antivirus, whatever. Like, yeah, you had like, but then it's not a viable business anymore, because I don't know, because it's just a great idea to embed this threat detections into your operating system, so on and so forth, so you don't need an extra software for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, so in the future you will have like if I'm talking to you, so part of Zoom there will be like a detector that will tell me, are you, do you have it would not tell me if you're a real person or not, but it will tell me if you have like heart rate pulse, if your video has a heart rate pulse or not. But yeah, and that can be done already today. But if you, the problem with like turning it into a business or something, because by the time you make a business out of it, and then YouTube, whatever, YouTube or Zoom introduces them into the system, built in, then your business is no more. Yeah, and it will happen. Like, the paradox there, the better your business is, the more likely it's to happen. So well, essentially, I was working on this, like an open source project for the last 3 years. So we're doing like all the development is happening live on YouTube. So just like, I used to call it vibe coding, but now I just call it pair programming with AI, because that's what I do. I'm not a programmer myself, but I do test. I do all the testing, so on so forth. Because in the past I was thinking about it as vibe coding, because I'm not writing any code, and I still do not write any code. But I say a tool like this, I've been testing it for the last like 6 months or so, and yes, there was some problem with the frames per second in the browser, so had to like devise like a proper prompt and fix it. But yes, generic language model was able to fix the code, and now it's supposedly working better. Yeah, there's some other. Yeah, so I'm doing like all the testing whatever. So you can see in my videos like I'm doing the development, the testing, retesting, updating the code, so on and so forth. So it's an open source project, but essentially the idea for the business side of things is taking any of these tools and turning them into, so currently it's like a non-for-profit like charity based, like pay as you wish. Find it useful, you drop a donation, whatever, Patreon or YouTube itself, whatever. But essentially the general idea is again, as I mentioned, like the biggest risk is that one of those big AI companies will just move into the space and they will make the business obsolete. But essentially the idea is that you, for example, you take a scientific paper, and because no one can read or understand papers, well, no one has the time to read papers, and also some of them are written in such way that that this just makes it hard to understand. So you just take a paper and turn it into a simulation, an interactive web application. But yes, it's inevitable that next thing for Gemini, OpenAI, and companies like that is that they will be doing it as well. I mean, and I'm using their products to do it, so but yeah, so essentially I'm looking for someone who will come up with a better business model, with more sustainable business model that will make it more viable. The only thing I can think of is you just keep moving. So you keep the project open source, and yes, and do it as whatever charity based. People just chip in. You just bring people along on the ride, whatever. So essentially, I'm thinking everyone will become a YouTuber / streamer in the next couple of years. There will be no programmers, no engineers, because AI will be doing all this work for them. But essentially, like the human factor, like interacting, yeah, everyone will be like have a stand-up comedian or a YouTube streamer, whatever. So I've been kind of doing it for the last 3 years. So the only advantage you have is actually doing it and deploy. So I'm deploying. So if I was working in academia, for example, and not using AI, I know a lot of universities do not allow you to use AI. A lot of like publishers would not allow you to publish things that were generated by AI. So then now that I'm on YouTube, I can generate essentially deploy, which will be an equivalent of publishing in academia. So if I was in academia, I would be publishing. I would be lucky if I'm publishing once or twice a year, and now I feel like I'm publishing on like a weekly, monthly basis. I know it's subjective, but it's my estimation of my throughput, whatever. Right. So one thing, for example, like one really interesting thing that I don't think was yet done is, for example, if you're looking at something like optical illusions. So I'm in neuroscience, and optical illusions are used a lot. So if you ask an AI to generate like a new optical illusion, which will be a great an absolute breakthrough, it always comes up with something that already exists. So for example, if you ask it, so this illusion, for example, is based, like when you look at the cross there, you see like a green circle there. I don't know. So with certain settings, the illusion is like increasing or decreasing, depending on your unique vision. But essentially, yeah. Now I think if they overlap, if it overlaps like this, for me, I can increase it by reducing the speed a bit, increasing the disk size, and so say with this many disks, when they overlap a little, I can see like the missing one. When I stare at the cross, if I focus on the cross, then I see a green circle. So if you see the green circle, so the green circle is not there. But so this is like a common, it's called the after image effect. So when when something remains in your brain, essentially, so it's to do with like how your brain is processing pictures, and in this case, because of the specific colors, like the background is important. If you remove the background, if you make the background black or white, the illusion disappears. But in this case, it's like so it's the after image illusion. So if you ask AI, for example, to generate it, to make a new illusion for you, it will make it, but it will still rely on the same phenomena of how your brain perceives images. Yeah, so so there will be like the real deal, what's it in chess, like in Go, when they made the Deep Blue, the move 52 or something, whatever number, that it came up with this brilliant idea or something. The equivalent of it would be if it actually comes up like essentially with a new phenomena, with an optical illusion that no one's seen before, and one that is actually relying on like a different phenomena of how your brain works. Yeah, so obviously, like, there will be people at OpenAI like trying to do this, right? I'm sure. I mean, originally they started from like gaming. Interesting enough, most of like great, the great business ideas, whatever, Google and OpenAI and stuff, like came from, non-traditional business strategies. There were just people like playing around with things. So essentially, that's my business model at the moment. Is just essentially that I building this gazillion of these tools, and essentially, if someone can see, a way to usefulness or commercialize one of them, then well, tell me. Or I mean, you can just, it's open source, so you can do it yourself. You don't necessarily need me for it, but if you are kind, tell me how to do it. Yeah. Yeah, reports is always like, so on one hand, it's a great idea. On the other hand, it's been done for quite some time. So for yeah, you can generate like custom reports with AI. I don't know why like reports are still a thing, considering with AI you can just show it, upload the data, it will generate like a custom dashboard for you and things like that. But yes, if you're looking at it from clinical perspective, so I'm not. So the other thing, like, I'm a biomedical engineer, so I'm not a clinician, so I'm not allowed to make any medical claims. And I mean, even if I was a clinician, you should not be making any claims that weren't tested. Whatever. There's a paradox there that clinical practice is essentially not science. That it's opinion based. So I should be able. Well, I'm a YouTuber, so I should be allowed to express my opinion and stuff. But yeah, reports I think are like overrated a bit, especially considering now that you can, load your data, create your own dashboard. So essentially, you can have like a custom report for every individual, the way they like it. So you can training models and stuff. I don't know, like this is a report of like results taking open. So essentially, the other thing is like taking data, and yes, as you say, like turning it into reports, or even better, turning it into like a, because reports suggest like text-based something, but turning it into like a visualization where you can actually see, compare things. So more interactive like reports, and probably custom for each individual. So yeah, so with training models, like, so the problem with models is that you have like the all llama. So if you have like the open source models, they don't publish everything. They have published the so for example, they published the access to the model, but not the weights, or they might publish the weights but not the data that was used to train. And also, or in research papers, they publish like the benchmarking, the results, the performance of the model, but then they might not be publishing not the data and not the weights. So in this case, for example, we were training like EEG brainwaves. So those are about the open source, open access data set of like 600 images. Half of them have epileptic seizures, half do not. And then we train the model. So the data set is public domain. Then my results are, because you mentioned the report, so they are like reported here on this webpage. And then you also have my code at the bottom of the page that used to train the model, and then you can like essentially compare it to another research team that did the training as well. So eventually I'm thinking like fast forward that every person will have their own models. So for example, when I'm going to a doctor, whatever, I'll bring my model with me. Yeah. Right. So the model could be, it has some sort of longitudinal, for example. So the main thing I'm thinking, like, same with reports. So reports are just, in my mind, are not like good enough. They don't get like the most important information. They only have like the bottom line. So what if you were like misdiagnosed with something? So they will just have the diagnosis written, but they would not have, the data will only be kept for like a year or two. Normally, then if you did like an MRI, then it's terabytes, like a terabyte worth of data. So then they generated the report, and then they keep the raw data for only like a limited period of time. So for example, if you had the model, then you could, and you ask for the raw data, then you, for example, with the new information, can go and review the raw data instead of doing another MRI, which is really expensive. You could like talk to a new clinician, a different expert. They're telling you something, and you go, oh, wait a minute, I'll go back to the raw data and reevaluate it, but considering what that second or third expert have said. Yeah. Yeah, so the quality meant to be good. I'm also, I just realized there's a couple things, like you need to, obviously motion artifact is a big problem. So you have to stay still for a while. But then also you have things like the light in the room is sensitive to the light in the room. So you have to control for that. So if and then I realized that because I have something flashing on my screen, it will also affect the monitoring, whatever. So now, so if I still, I'm not sure if I can still talk. Yeah, 63, and my smartwatch Garmin shows 62, and this thing shows 63. And I mean, the Garmin could be having an error as well, because it's also not clinical grade. It's also not super accurate. But yeah, so I've been testing it for like 6 months or so, and I think it's within like 1 to 2 beats per minute accurate. Because the other thing you need to also testing, because I'm like engineering, so testing can be complicated. So you need to test it at the edges as well. So for example, if I jump around and then test it again. But I mean, the advantage. You just go onto this web page, and yes, the thing is just running locally, so you can literally get all the source code. So I don't know how technical or not you are, but but it's not sending the data. You are in software testing. So yeah, if you're in software testing, I mean, you should be able to test, if this URL is sending data anywhere, so you can, check your network. So when you're loading it, it's showing Google Analytics and stuff, but it's not sending data. So as you monitor, it's not sending your video to the cloud or whatever. It's just doing it locally in your browser. So you can check it through the network communication, but also through the code. It's doing everything, the calculation locally. So it's actually getting the region of interest of your head and calculating extracting green light. So it's all in this code. It's currently just under 1,000 lines of code. Well, that's the thing. People keep asking where, for GitHub and stuff, but I don't understand. So it's open source in the sense that all the code is on the page. So I used to have a GitHub. It's just too complicated for me to manage. And I'm not using it for version control. So if I was using it for version control, it would be, it would make more sense. But because I'm not a coder or whatever, my version control is that you can literally take this URL, instead of going into it myself, just pop it into Gemini, and it will create a similar web app for you, and it will work. I mean, yeah, we had some. Well, so yes, we're doing all the development. So if you're looking at this, EEG, this brain, this is it EEG monitoring? Anyway, so all the videos are just extracts from live streams. So during live streams, we actually develop all these tools, and then, because people complain the streams are too long, and most of the time in the stream, not much is happening. So then, we're doing eye tracking as well. So I'll be developing and testing during all the development is essentially, and testing is happening during live streams. Yeah, so there's an eye tracker. Yeah, so this one did a year ago, and testing it since. So it will be doing finding your face, finding your eyes, somehow working better for your left eye than right eye. We'll probably have to adjust the threshold for and then it does pupil detection. The pupil detection is a bit fake because just looking for the darkest spot within the eye square. So for example, if your eye square is too large, it might get a false here is, for example, doing a false detection of the eyelid, of the now in theory, when you close your eyes, it should tell you that there's no eye there. But it's essentially a false a false positive. Where is it? It should detect a no eye. And it's faking. So we're building. So now we're building another one. So this one is quick. It will work on your phone as well. If you make it more complicated and it does more testing, then it kind of becomes heavier. So that's something we test. So we'll have 2 versions that way. See which one performs better or worse. But so this is all language models. So essentially the quality of it will heavily depend on how good the current language models are. This is local. No, so this is local as well. So you can see a network is not sending anything. Well, this is just what is this? Yeah, so when it's actually running, it's not sending any data, so it's not sending your face or anything. I don't know what the logs are. Yeah, no, so it's running locally in your browser. So this one is like nice and quick, but yeah, it's not doing like, so the pupil. So for example, yeah, we have some ideas about a new tools. So there's a lot of, so for example, mental effort estimate. We kind of, so that's kind of how I work. I generate so this ideas pages on the page as well, and you see like mental effort, facial asymmetry, stroke screening, hand tremor, stability analyzer, temperature and fever indicator. So the stress and anxiety estimate. So the last one is similar to the first one, but the last one takes your many different metrics, so it's much a higher complexity. The first one is essentially just taking your pupil dilation. But say with a tool like this one, I cannot do pupil dilation very accurately. Well, because it's barely doing the pupil detection. So if I'm doing like a more complicated tool, then by the way, the most obvious thing for this ECG, the heart rate monitoring, is doing meditation. Well, in addition to finding deep fakes, but I'm not really interested in kind of let someone else sort that out, because I mean there's a lot more to deep fakes. And again, what if it it's like one of those antivirus thing. Once it becomes a thing, then the companies that generate deep fakes, they will just add the heart rate, they will just add the color variation into it, so you can't detect it anymore. So it's kind of hopeless that way. But I was actually using it for meditation, because you have sonification of this waveform, and then you can like listen to it and try to reduce your heart rate as like, so it's called neurofeedback thing. But as opposed to making it like a product and charging people money for it, I'm just essentially showing people how you build one yourself and how it works. So hmm. Right, well, that could be the feature of your camera as well. I think my camera does it, but I'm not sure. It depends on your setup, whatever. But yes, Zoom does all sorts of things. I mean, you can replace your face with a rabbit or something. And yes, and then for that, you need to actually find where the face is and your orientation and stuff. So yeah, we're doing things like that as well. But yeah, I'm kind of talking about like in general, like just so yeah. So I guess for me, it's more like educational in a sense that instead of showing people magic, whatever, you just actually show them how it works. How would a tool like that be developed, and how important are the parameters for making like a like a basic filter, whatever. How you remove background from your video footage and things like that. So just essentially, yeah. So more, I see it more as a like education platform than anything else. Hmm. Like for example, you're doing like a blur filter. So I made like one version and it was too heavy on my system. So then you ask a language model to explain, how do blur filters work, how to make one better, and it did. And then I'm adding this monitoring for like processing time, average, and FPS used. So say currently the processing time is like 20 milliseconds, and if I use the previous version of the blur, it takes like 100 or more than 100 milliseconds. And then I can hear my system, my GPU is going and stuff. So kind of, yeah, so so once you get into the nitty gritty of it, you realize that you either have like higher accuracy, but then, heavier, more costly, more energy intense tool, or you can have like, more approximation and cheaper, quicker, and more accessible. Yeah. And essentially trying to gear towards people like having their own models and, developing their own tools. So essentially, yeah, you want your camera to follow you, whatever, you just, make it. You should not like, because if you're relying on the zoom algorithm too much and then zoom change something, well, yeah. Yeah, because these filters are interesting because they're used a lot in like medical data processing and stuff. So you think, it's kind of like a toy, whatever. Well, yes, it is a toy. First of all, it's good to, because if I have a development guide for a language model, then I can like benchmark it. So I just give this tool to a new language model, ask it to, create a better version of it, and it and it does, and then I can test it side by side. So I'm not relying on, other companies benchmarking. So I don't know where is it going. I think it's it's like one of those, because the LLM companies, the AI companies, they essentially don't have a product, because if OpenAI have something like working, they need people actually using it. Well, because they don't have like the use case for it, and I'm creating like the use case for it. So eventually, if OpenAI or Gemini like moving into the space, either turning papers into interactive visualizations and stuff, well then, they just can buy me out. Well, currently it's not for sale, but everyone has a price, so yeah, so I want to like, build it up, and when it's ready, I mean, yeah, currently I'm evaluating it, whatever PhD engineer, whatever salary multiplied by 3 years. That's how much it's worth to me. But yeah, just waiting for the right buyer. So yeah, I'm kind of looking for a CEO who will, make it a bit faster. But yeah, they will be working off commission. If it's a salesperson. Yeah, conferences. I mean, I'm like on YouTube all the time. Sometimes my streams get like hundreds of people in and out, so you never know who you're gonna get. I'm sure whatever Sam Altman or whoever, Satya Nadella, or what's his yeah, Sundar Pichai, I'm sure they seen it already or will see it in the future. You can't control for that, whatever. But yes, if you know them in person, yeah, send them a link, kind of thing. Hmm. Yeah, I was working on cochlear implants for my PhD. It's again one of those things that just came out a little bit by chance. The way I see it, I actually have like a cochlear implant here, so will be implanted in your head. And yeah, I have like a prototype device. But yeah, like a cochlear implant is just came out by chance. Like if you now, so for example, we tried the same thing for like the bionic eye, and it just didn't work. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of like luck, chance to it. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Like it's the same BioniChaos. Like it's literally my name, like everywhere online. So it should be all over Google, LinkedIn. Yeah, what's my... Yeah, LinkedIn is also should be... Yeah, but yeah, BioniChaos also comes up on LinkedIn. I'll send it. How do I... Yeah, I sent you the LinkedIn thing. Yeah, most of my traffic is coming from LinkedIn, but I'm actually trying to get out of it. Well, mainly because it doesn't monetize, it doesn't pay creators. Yeah. So, Twitter. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Reddit. I'm on Facebook. I'm even on. Where am I on? I'm everywhere. Yeah, Blue Sky, Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, Twitch, Discord, GitHub, Instagram. Yeah, GitHub. You were asking about GitHub before. It's just hard to manage. I don't understand why from like Visual Studio Code you can't just like. Why didn't they make it like super simple? It's, I don't know. I had some trouble. Yeah, I had the repo and everything, and then it just I don't know what happened. Yeah, I even have some followers in there, whatever. But well, yeah. So I had like repos in there, and yeah, yeah, my thing is open source. So literally, if you go on the website, like all the tools are literally on the page. I used to, in the past when I started, um I used to do Flask applications, but then I realized, most things don't actually require a backend, or at least my things, I'm actually trying to simplify it. So, if you have a backend, you tend to over complicate things. If you don't have a backend, you tend to make them simpler. So now I'm just trying to make them simpler. So there's no backend, so that means all the code is just single HTML file on the website, whatever. So that's where, yeah. But I don't know why people are struggling with treating that as open source, whatever. I mean, it is the source is there. It's also somewhere on the website it mentions that it's whatever Creative Commons license, blah blah. But yeah, but everyone keeps asking for GitHub, but I'm just not sure. Yeah, if it was just easier. I mean, it's obviously geared towards like programmers and stuff. Yeah, if I was doing the source control with Git, that makes sense to use it. But I don't, again, because it's like overly complicated. Not that I don't want to do proper source control, but it's just too complicated for whatever reason. Right, so I'm pushing it to the website. I mean, well, the main thing is similar to LinkedIn. Like my LinkedIn or GitHub is not monetized. My YouTube and my website is. So essentially, when you're using those, you're like supporting the project in whichever, by small contribution of your eyeballs, whatever. But my GitHub is impossible. I don't think you can monetize it at all. LinkedIn you cannot monetize. So I mean, it's not that I'm after monetization, but also that monetization actually, like if I'm trying to, yeah, it's an incentivized, but it's also evidence of, because if I'm looking at my traffic, it can be quite misleading, like because I'm running my own server and my traffic on the server seem to be 10 times larger than what Google is actually happy to pay for. So supposedly, if I'm using Google as a third party that validates my traffic, then I can actually estimate how much the business is worth. Whereas on GitHub, okay, you can have the number of stars, whatever, but I don't know. Yeah, but I'm not a developer. That's the so that's the thing. I'm like a domain expert. So I got a PhD in biomedical engineering. Whatever. I did write MATLAB and what's not code. Now I don't have to do it anymore. I can develop in English. So and yeah, I worked on MATLAB and stuff, LabVIEW as well, and things like that. But like the funny thing about it is that like when you work with GitHub, or even in like I'm using GitHub Copilot a lot, but I don't use, for example, the code completion thing, because again, I'm not a coder. I'm just using the chat. So I just want to talk to the thing as if I was, hired a developer, and I just tell them what to do. They do it. And but interestingly enough, it's geared towards writing it, for example, like the multiple files, like like separate JavaScript file there. And I was just, okay, for me to give it to another language model, I want it like in a single file, so I can just like copy paste it quickly. And it goes like, no, we need it like in separate files. But I'm saying, no, you need it in separate files because humans need it in separate files so they can understand the code better. But if I never look at the code, I just give it to another language model. Surely, if it's just in a single file, it will actually, if anything, be easier for a language model to look at. But yeah, so interesting that GitHub and all these things, they geared towards like coding and coders, so actual code, that you look at the code. I never do, so I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to. I want to see like the end result. Like I would know straight away, like if it's working, if a tool is making sense or not, because I know what I want, but I don't care for the code. But yeah, but GitHub and GitHub Copilot, whatever. Yeah, I probably should be not even using a Visual Studio Code or something. I mean, it's nice because GitHub Copilot has a chat option, so it has automatic model selection, it has agent mode, and I can just like talk to it. So now, for example, I want to change something, I just like describe it in natural language, what's up, and it will. Right. Oh yeah, because it does have access to all executing commands, editing. I think you need an extra access to GitHub though. I mean, that's what I was having trouble with. It is that it will is that yeah, that's what I had trouble with. Like, so I would authenticate, and then it will like as if it like forgot about it, as if it like I had. Yeah, I think that's what like you know because now when I'm in Visual Studio Code, whatever. So for example, if it's linked to GitHub Copilot, then it just works. It just signs me in, and I can start chatting to it straight away. But somehow GitHub Copilot, yeah, it had some trouble, yeah, with authentications and things. So it just was like too hard. I don't get it. And my project is like open source anyway, so it's in the public domain. So why do you then need to anyway? Yeah, that's what I like about like websites like this. Like if I go on, if you show me a similar website, whatever, and I'm interested in it, but then I go on a website and there is like a login and this and that, registration and stuff, I bounce. Like I bounce in seconds. Like yeah, no, not happening. So this is like the pros and cons, whatever. Like yeah. So I get a lot of traffic on this site, but I don't know what people also assume that when they for example, joining your live stream or something, that you know who they are. I have no idea, unless they actually put a message, whatever, in the chat. Yeah, so same if you go on the website, I think maybe people assuming that, websites are being like that are monitoring their usage and stuff and how they interacted with it. I probably could, but I would rather have it as like a print as a video monitoring, of the screen. So for example, if you went on the on the website, ideally for providing feedback, you just record a video of your screen and your mouse, whatever, using the website. I know I can get it somehow from the analytics, whatever, but it's not. I don't think it's as good. Yes, it will tell you like which button was pressed and things like that, but it's not. Again, it's too hard. Hmm. I have all the logs for the site. I mean, the problem with that I think about half of it is bots. Right. No, I actually it gives me whatever Cloudflare gives me analytics of like how many bots are visiting the site. Yeah, but I don't want to block the bots. I want the bots to, because I mean it's similar. The way I see it, it's like blocking your search engine optimization, right? Because people now search through OpenAI. So if I block the bots, then I don't appear in the in the responses, in the AI responses. So no, I do not discriminate. Bots are bots are bots. But I'm saying as far as feedback goes, I mean the bot can literally like it can fire up. Which one has vision? Yes, the Gemini has a vision. No, not banana. No, so live Gemini 3.1 Flash live preview, blah blah blah. I don't know. It's only one option, and you can share the screen with it. So actually, yeah, and it can then review your site, what you are looking at. But it's not that great. I think because the models they're using is like an older, yeah, I don't know, Gemini 3.1 Flash. That's what they use for the. So it's like a multimodal. Yeah, multimodal vision and the text and speech and voice model and everything. But then it's not, because it's multimodal. I guess it's then the quality of it is reduced. So it's essentially it's a less intelligent model. Yeah, divided attention. That's right. But yeah. Yeah, actually, so I'm like on YouTube, like streaming a lot. Normally, just stream my voice and my screen, and I stream AI if I'm talking to AI. I actually tried like Sesame AI recently. It's actually pretty good, like in terms of conversation. So no, I don't know how intelligent the model is. It's very verbose, so it's very like emotionally driven. It's not like an assistant. It's like it's telling you, oh, this and that. Oh, I feel tired. I do this. I do that. Yeah, more like human. I don't know what it was trained on. I mean, then you have Grok. I mean, Grok was probably trained on, I don't know, some really toxic. Probably was trained on X, whatever, Twitter conversations, because you have the Grok, the voice model, the unhinged one. So it will start swearing and what's not. I did try it in my streams. It's actually pretty well. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty entertaining and fairly intelligent model as well, I think. Right, I actually might try some of them because I can then yeah, show it in the stream. I'll send you a link to that, and yeah, because I can activate the audio in the stream. I'll potentially have someone else in the stream, the Muhammad who was from the startup Oasis thing. I think he's actually in the stream or something. I don't know if he's still there or not. He said hello, but yeah, it's fine. I have like a poll on the stream. Did you know that all the tools we develop live are freely available on BioniChaos.com? And someone answered yes, and someone answered no. but I assume if you answer no, then you just go check the website. You go check BioniChaos.com, and then you know, and then the answer should be yes. And then if the answer is yes, the follow-up question is, do you have any feedback to provide? So if you visited the website and but then again, you have to like specify which tool you used and what happened. Did it work for you or not? If it didn't work, what exactly happened. And yeah, ideally if you're like a YouTuber or something, just record a video of you using it, and then it becomes much clearer what happens. And then in theory you could just show this video to one of the vision models and just ask it to generate like a prompt to fix it, and then you have another agent actually looking at the code and fixing the tool. So that's kind of what yeah, feedback box. And we're going like back, regressing back to the 90s. Yeah. Yeah, wait, I have to check what am I sharing on the thing. Yeah. No, it's just my voice and my screen. So yeah, so if this, yeah, I don't know if Muhammad is still there on the stream and has any comments, questions, complaints, suggestions. Yeah, we're talking, looking for a CEO. I mean, I don't know why people think I'm joking or something. Like I literally use like AI as my CEO for like 3 years. But then it's like an how to say it, like intermittent, whatever, like temporary CEO. So I had like ChatGPT for 6 months, so I was like paying for it. It was doing all the CEOing things, activities. Then I had the Claude for 6 months, and then Gemini as well. And now I just have them on rotation because I'm not paying for it anymore. Well, mainly because you don't want to get, addicted to one of them. Yeah, so I have everything in prompts, in text files. So I essentially can move to a different bot on demand. Yeah, I don't know if Mohammed is still there. We're also on this Zoom call as well. I put the link in the chat if you want to actually, because the live stream is normally, you can see my screen, but I cannot see you. I mean, even for you to see me, I have to Because if I'm using the camera, the camera can only be used by one program at a time, whatever. So it can either be used by a browser or OBS. So I'm using it in the browser. Yes, I don't know if Mohammed is still there or has any feedback. Yeah, so whatever we do making live on this YouTube channel, on BioniChaos channel, is available open source on BioniChaos.com. Yeah, there is an ideas page. Yeah, essentially we have like some sort of ranking tool title, complexity level, and technical prompt. So essentially from this prompt we should be able to create the tool. So all you need, instead of open source, instead of the code, you just need the prompts that were used to create the tool. So everyone is asking for the code. Well, the code for most of these tools is on the page. I was saying before, in the past we were doing Flask applications, but we don't do them anymore. Main reason is that when you have a backend, your applications tend to increase in complexity unnecessarily. But if you don't have a back end and it's just JavaScript, they tend to be simpler, and that's what we are trying to achieve. And that's what we are trying to achieve. Yeah, so if you checked out the website, have any feedback to provide, we are here for that. Okay, if you actually visited the website and you have any feedback, do let us know. Otherwise, we'll be already streaming for 3 hours. I was actually pitching our ideas. So we're essentially looking for a CEO, co-founder for BioniChaos. The idea is that you can take any of the tools we developed in the last 3 years and just commercialize it. Yes, hopefully next time we will actually be programming, making one of those tools better. If you have any specific feedback and stuff, do let us know. We promise to take it into account. Well, it'll essentially be turned into prompts for the AI developers, agents, and we'll go from there. So go check out the tools, and I'll see you next time. Unless there's a question, we'll check the chat. No, there was a question about the Apple Watch. I think we covered that. And no other questions. All the tools we develop live are freely available on BioniChaos.com. One person said yes, they know. Another person said they don't know. Well, if you don't know, just go check the site and then you change your answer. And if you said yes, if you already visited the site, do provide your feedback next time. Or comment in one of the videos and stuff. Or even better, record your screen while using the website. That will be great. Great help. Because you're essentially co-developer for this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.